Behind me here.
It's Wednesday, July 19th, 2017. It's time for WorthPoint Chats with Harry Rinker. I'm Greg Watkins at WorthPoint.com, and we have with us tonight Harry Rinker, our expert on all things antiques and collectibles. And
yes,
we're happy to have you tonight.
Well, we're glad to be here. I am in Washington, D.C. for a meeting of the Citizen Stamp Advisory Committee. And in the past, we've always just gone up here and I've got the system down. And today, Google decided it didn't like me. And it wanted codes and thises and that's. And when I do this and when I do that, and then I changed my password, then it sent me a secret number. But eventually, I found out shutting down the computer and starting over again really does work. And so here we are, ready to go. So we'll go a little bit past 9:30. And this will be the last show, or not the last show, but the next 2 weeks I'll be in Alaska. So we're probably going to take a hiatus. So we're certainly going to not do the show next week. I'll be out on the cruise ship, but we will be on land Wednesday a week, and maybe, depending on the internet connection from Denali State Park, we may or may not be able to do a show, but we'll see. And if not, we'll be back.
Well, it would be fun to get you from Alaska.
Part of the fun thing of doing this is that the show has such poor quality, not the least of which has to do with the fact that I'm on it, and it allows me to do it from wherever I am. And it's a digital age, man. I've got to learn to deal with this stuff, odd idiosyncrasies that come with it. But anyway, it's been an interesting week in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers would say. After the show last week, I did go out to land and work some more with Barb sales, and so saw last week some of the stuff I came away with early in the game, but I wound up buying even more stuff. At which point I have just, I keep saying to myself, why am I doing this? I am saving things that should not be saved. It is as simple as that. I cannot see them go for 10 cents and 25 cents and 50 cents and $1 when I know I can pay that and never see that dollar again.
Or the item, because the item goes into storage.
It's fascinating. Estate sales are interesting. In order for an estate sale to work, right, the estate sale person has to be able to market themselves so there's a reasonable expectation it'll sell. Now, so estate sale people get anywhere between 35 and 50% of the money brought in from an estate sale. And today, Barb works on 50%. I mean, so if something sells for $20, she gets $10, and the owner gets $10. But the owners are so happy they don't mind paying Barb for that. But what Barb doesn't sell, some liquidator comes in and says, "Okay, I'll give you $100 or $200 for what's left in the store." So, we talked about this before, but the way Barb works is the first 2 days it's 100%, and the third day it's 35% off, and the last day it's 50% off. But the key is to be there on the morning of the fifth day before the liquidator gets there. He's going to give her a dime for everything and say, "Okay, Barb, let's talk a deal." Well, one of the items that the person had was a photo album that a person put together on a trip to Alaska in 1940, right before the war broke out.
Okay.
And this is one of those things. If they would have put $50 on that album, they'd have sold it without a problem. But somebody did some research, like the kiss of death sometimes, and he saw one that sold for $400. So he puts $395 on it. Well, nobody in their right mind. I mean, I could take one look at it, and I would say, if anybody paid $395 for it, I would have personally paid for them to go see a doctor and have their mental prowess checked. But then you said, okay, but at 35% off, it was there, but at half price, it was still $200. So there it sat at the end of the sale, and it wasn't sold. So I said to Barbara, "I'll give you $10 for it." More than the other guy would have given her.
Right.
And so now I'm the proud possessor of this strange album. Which
of 1940s photographs of Alaska.
Well, yeah, what happened was, if you know anything about old photograph albums, especially personal ones, people would take trips, or they would have family albums. They would paste them in using those little corner things you used to get, to paste postcards, that type of thing. You've seen that, right?
Right. Yeah.
They used to use the stamp. And so this particular one, she went on the trip and she she bought postcards along the way. She had luggage tags, she had ship tickets along the way, and apparently she took pictures along the way. So apparently when she got home, she laid it all out day by day and then pasted it in this album. And then wrote really nice notes. This is my friend so-and-so, and this is where we were. And there was a menu from the last day on the cruise ship. It was really fun stuff. I mean, great paper ephemera in there. And in a way, it's that whole thing of, the whole is equal to the sum of the parts, but not in the antique business, when if you take the parts apart, you can get more than the whole. And so, really the value was to disassemble it, but there was just a wonderful value that the person had done this, and it was a complete record of the trip. Now, it's one of those do the math games, right? 1940, okay, 77 years ago. I'm not saying that a lot of albums from people's trips to Alaska in 77 years ago survived, and you would think it was something that might have some appeal to Alaskan Historical Society or somewhere. Of course, the problem with all those people is they want to give it to you. They want you to donate it, not a word to me. But anyway, so now I'm the proud owner of it, and now I've gotten smart now. As I buy stuff, I'm cataloging it as I go. Not that I will ever sell it, or probably will sell it someday, but at least the poor auctioneer won't have to catalog it. So I have this thing, and I'm still pondering. Now, that I'm leaving next Tuesday to go to Alaska, and so there's a thought in me that says, put it in your album, Harry, or put it in your suitcase, Harry. Banks or Anchorage, find an antique dealer and sell it to them for considerably more than you paid for it. And how do you value it? Well, the way I would value it is I would find out what the cost of an Alaskan king crab dinner was. And that's what it would cost if I sold it.
Well, that's more than $10.
Well, pricing structure as you can get for anything else,
Exactly.
And you haven't priced Alaskan king crab dinners either in Alaska, which are not cheap.
I have not been to Alaska.
No. You'd think that, given the fact you're in Alaska, they'd be inexpensive, but they start about 35 and run up to 50 or 60 bucks.
Wow.
So, yes. But,
okay.
But the other thing is that I can only do that at the end of a trip because of my shirts, and by then I would be down to my last shirt, so I have to be a little careful.
Well, you could always get an Alaska T-shirt.
I could.
Yeah.
But it's no, I wouldn't. I have at one point I thought I would collect T-shirts. Okay, and there are T-shirt collectibles, yes, you may or may not know, particularly the T-shirts involved with rock and roll concert groups.
Yes.
There's an active market for that, actually.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But I was collecting T-shirts of restaurants I ate in, only because they had some really wonderful graphic art. Well, it's like collecting baseball caps, like truck drivers did. I mean, there's no end to it. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of these things. And there's also another truth to it. Nobody cares. And so I have 8 boxes of T-shirts down in plastic containers, 8 plastic containers of T-shirts.
Well, then,
wearing them because they'll never sell for any money on eBay.
Well, yeah, I would argue with that because I have sold T-shirts for $50, $60, $90.
All right, so you are now going to poo-poo my expertise here, which is, one of the nice things about this is, as long as Darwin's listening, I take a beating anyway about my expertise. But and believe it or not, he sent me another email this week again. But anyway, why don't we run up T-shirts on Worthopedia, only because you brought this up. And I am curious to know, if we go from high value to low value, what is the most expensive T-shirt on Worthopedia?
All right. Well, let's.
Are you working
get
on
this
it?
in. I've got to call it up. It takes a couple of steps here. All right. So if we just put in T-shirt.
Oh, sure. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And now we go for high
to low.
Because there's 2.3 million T-shirts on here.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All
right.
The Babe Ruth game. Come on, sports game jerseys on T-shirts. Come on.
No, I know. I'm moving it now to textiles and clothing.
All right, textiles and clothing.
Try and reduce it down.
Get those anyway. Oh, wait a minute. What's that?
All right. So here is a Anarchy in the UK T-shirt, 1977, sold for $2,500.
What? Okay. Do I know who Sectionaires Anarchy in the UK is?
Well, it's a punk band. I don't think you would have followed them too closely.
No, I don't think I would have heard that.
All right.
So there's, but that goes along with what I said about band T-shirts being the biggie, right?
Right. All right. So Nirvana at $1,000. Here's a Harley Davidson sleeveless T-shirt that sold for $900.
Harley Davidson Champion Gold Runner Racing Tee. Really?
From the 60s.
Yes.
All right. So,
but so far we're with the music groupies, right, and the other ones. And but look at the prices for the Nirvana stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
So here's a collection of.
Oh, there's Iron Maiden shirts. What did the Iron Maiden shirts sell for?
$550.
For four.
For.
That's all right. That's still $100.
Yeah. So
and they weren't that old either. 82, 84 I saw there, right?
Right. So you're right. Most of these are rock and roll band related.
Band related T-shirts, and I discovered that market a number of years ago, and it's substantial. I mean, you're still down there, and you're still looking at stuff at the $300 range. Oh my goodness, an early Mickey Mouse smoking dope T-shirt. Why not?
Why not?
I don't think that was a licensed Disney product.
I don't think it is either, which is probably why it's a little bit more expensive.
Yes. Well, I didn't mean to get sidetracked on T-shirts tonight.
Okay.
But nonetheless, there it is. There it is. Look at that.
So, go back to your original advice for selling on eBay as you hire some teenager to go and list all those things and you split the profit with them. Well,
here's the deal. I bought a pile of canceled stock certificates, in a quarter a piece. And I met somebody, I said, look, I want you to sell for me on eBay and we'll split what you get in for. Now, I made kind of stuff, although I don't like wheeling and dealing like that. But anyway, let's move forward to our friend Darwin. Yeah, Darwin.
Right. What's Darwin got to say?
Darwin down in Bowie, Texas, is trying to convince me that there is a large number of collectors for cut glass, pattern glass, carnival glass out there, and that I am being a really nasty guy by telling people that those markets are in the doldrums. And so about a week ago, he sent me the auction for the Carnival Glass Collectors Club. Now, the Carnival Glass Collectors Club is messages of the Carnival Glass collectors with the high-end collectors in it. Okay? And they hold an annual auction at their convention. And this year, a premier collection of Carnival Glass came up at auction, filled with scarce pieces. And so Darwin decides, well, he is going to send me the results, all right? And,
yes.
And if this was the only information you had about Carnival Glass, you would say, oh my gosh, man, this is really impressive. So there you can see, slow down here. Here you can see a heavy grape handled nappy sold for $160. All right.
Yes.
There is a stippled 3 Fruits Bonbon Blue for $65. Then a shell and ruffle bowl, but keep on going down. $10. But look at this. Look at that one.
Yeah. Wow. A couple of them.
Icy shape bowl in blue, $16,000. And then a rose tree shape bowl in marigold for $17,000. Now, you know, there are levels in every collecting category, from the ordinary to the hard to find to the upper echelon pieces and ultimate units. Now, this is a sale of ultimate units and masterpieces. Ultimate units and the upper echelon pieces. Here is a grape and cable small size 8-piece punch bowl white that sold for $3,100, but keep on going down.
Well, the blue.
Oh, no, where's
ice blue?
Oh, there's the ice blue one right at the top. That sold for $12,000. Now look.
Right.
Now, he's impressed by this. In fact, I went to ddottie.com, which is not one of his favorite websites. And even Dottie put this information up on there. But here's the deal. These are scarce pieces in scarce colors. All right. This is not the common, ordinary carnival glass you find out in the open marketplace. That's the first order of business. But Darwin always says, you know, Harry, you don't have the facts. You don't have the facts. But here's what we don't know, right? We don't know, A, what the person paid for this stuff. We don't know if these prices reflect significant increases over what this collector paid, or they may have paid even more, and these are fire sale prices, although it's a little hard to think of $21,000 as a fire sale price, but we don't know to begin with what she paid for this stuff. Okay, that's the first order of business. Second of all, we don't know what commission the club got or the auctioneer got for selling this stuff. That's another of information. But we also don't know the most important piece of all. What was the age of the buyers? Because I can tell you, nobody under the age of 50 was paying $10,000 to $20,000 for anything. These are the last of the old guard carnival glass collectors. The people with these great, magnificent collections, and they are magnificent collections, buying the stuff they need to complete their collections. But the deal is that 20 years from now, when they're all dead, and this same stuff comes back on the market, none of these prices are going to be realistic. And here, look at this one, a Great Barber 7-piece tankard water set in marigold for $150. My guess is that in the books, that booked a lot higher than that. So here it is, the up end of any market, as long as there's enough collectors around, the upper end, the masterpiece units and the upper echelon piece unit, that's always a strong market. As long as there's these expensive collectors, they will do that. Thing about it, nobody is buying this stuff as speculation. Those high-end collectors are still the last of the old guard traditional collectors. Nobody's taking their retirement money and putting it in carnival glass in hopes that in 20 years they're going to make a killing. It isn't going to happen. So, Darwin, thank you very much. It was fun to see all those high-end pieces. It was fun to see all those wonderful colors. I'm glad to hear the Carnival Glass Collectors Club is still in good shape. And it's interesting, by the way. We also don't know the sex of the people who are buying this. But I'll tell you, I do. All those people spending that kind of money were men. It was a pissing contest among the last of the old guard collectors. No, it's fascinating because the players at that high end of carnival glass are largely male. There may be a few women, but not many. Husband and wife teams too. But the whole point of the matter is, if you went to depression glass, you wouldn't find the men in there anywhere near to the same degree of that. And if you went to pattern glass, you wouldn't find the men in there to the same degree as carnival glass either. Now, I cannot wait for Darwin's response to all that I've said tonight. Because trust me, I know that it's coming. But it's all right.
Respond, you know, and we will talk about it in a couple of weeks.
You know what? Normally, I have avoided the trade on one simple rule. I've had my say, they get their say, and it's done. Now I'm inviting Darwin to keep sending us information, all right, and refuting me. And I can just tell you what, he can send me all he wants, and he can call me closed-minded and whatever. But the truth of the matter is that I have much better long-term market background knowledge than he does in so many different categories, that if he can't see the end coming, maybe he better take a look at cut class, and especially the high end of cut class, and see what happened to that in the last 10 years. Because that 15 years ago, not 10 years ago, but 15 years ago, cut glass was where the high end of Carnival glass is today. And that is, there were still some old guard collectors with great collections with money in their pocket that were paying big dollars for the top end pieces. Today, the top end pieces hit the market. And yeah, maybe some of them will sell, but not a lot of them. I mean, seriously. So anyway, but see, here's another thing too. Where is reality in all this? You like these theoretical conversations with me, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Is this auction will not wind up on WorthPoint because you don't have an agreement with them to post these prices on WorthPoint.
Correct.
And so if somebody's searching WorthPoint, they're not going to see these prices anyway. And there's no reason they should, because these pieces are so obscure or so difficult to find that WorthPoint really is about what's out there and what's available and what's in the general marketplace. But it is fascinating. And by the way, in fairness to Darwin, I have watched the Carnival glass auctions for decades. This one, as I said, was an exceptional private collection. You know, it was a private collector sale. Normally, what happens is people bring pieces and put them up there, and the end results aren't anywhere near as spectacular as some of the prices here. Although there have been some spectacular prices in the past, but on one or two pieces, maybe half a dozen pieces, but never to this quantity. But anyway, it was fun, and it was nice to review it. Now, we got a letter in this week again, and it falls into a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Somebody sent us a picture. You have it, right?
Yes.
Of a board it's got like a marquetry background, and there's a design in the center that looks like a four-leaf clover. Okay, and let's get it up so everybody can have a look at it here. There it is, and it's a piece of wood like this, and except that this guy did some research work, and this four-leaf clover really is a symbol for Eva Braun, Adolf Hitler's mistress, or wife, I guess, right at the end he married her. And so he sent us a letter, right?
Yes.
And he mentioned everything. His father was in a military unit in Germany at the end of the war. And he was a great believer into the victor belongs to spoils, and they were raiding Hitler's place, and somehow his father, I mean, I can't imagine him getting this home in a duffel bag. I mean, how he wound up with this is beyond me, but supposedly it got stripped out, right? I forget, he did send a size. I don't have it in front of me, but it's pretty good size, as you can see, right?
Right.
It's up on the internet, starts finding things. And do you have the pictures of the stuff that he found up there? Yes. Here's the first thing he found. Now, if you go on down through this, it talks about, it says, Nazi memorabilia can command high prices amongst the strange sorts who still idolize Hitler and his life. But even by these standards, the 50,950 pounds, which is about $65,000, set for a door from a cabinet owned by Eva Braun seems quite ridiculous. Okay? I don't know how to explain what this thing has. He thinks it may have been off a wall or a bed frame or something. But the point is that he wants us to believe it's Eva Braun, and he had a piece of jewelry. If you may remember that he sent you to. Do you have that photo? Yeah. And there it is. I mean, there it looks like that, right? Right. So, but here's what he has to do. It's a great story. It's a possible, believable piece. But the thing is, he's got to prove it. I mean, it's one thing to say, my father was in this group and they were there, and whether they got it at Purchase Garden or off the bunker in Berlin or wherever they got it. He's got to pin it down. That's the first order of business. He's got to pin that unit down, being at a certain place at a certain time at a certain moment where they could strip this thing out, right?
Yeah.
All right, and then when they do that, okay, then he's got to prove that his father was there. Now there you could see that he has every reason to believe that, that symbol, right, is Eva Braun. All right. So now, suppose he gets lucky enough to say, okay, my father was in this regiment, this division, and they were at Berchtesgaden or wherever it was they got it on this state, blah, 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 and they were stripping things out, right?
Yeah.
And so, fine. How do we know the story's true? Well, okay, you can say, well, look at all the Eva Braun stuff that got picked up along the way by GIs and wound up back in the marketplace. So it's quite possible this happened, right? But if his father wasn't an officer, but just some soldier, why did he wind up with this big piece of chunk of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's for $215 and so forth. There was her hairbrush. He went through a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, what's there to believe that this thing is worth a lot of money? Well, then he reads his story where some idiot paid £50,000 for it. Well, here's the name of the game. Pounds are not dollars. And so what he needs to find out is, B, what auction house in England sold this piece to this idiot. Ideally, it'd be great if you could find the idiot and offer him his too. But he now has that number fixed in his head, that this thing is worth money, and a lot of money. Okay? Now, and yet here you can see in the article here, pooed the amount of money paid. All right? So it was just a lucky day, I guess. But what do we, I know what we have. We had that business about Hitler's telephone the other couple
That's
months
right.
ago, right? Remember that? And then they proved
Yeah.
that there was some questionability about whether the telephone was authentic or not. And it didn't bring anywhere near what the reserve was on that. So, but what he really needs is he needs a picture inside Berchtesgaden or wherever building they stripped this out of, showing that panel on the wall or on a chest, right?
Right.
Now, go on down to the picture down below down there.
Yeah, this is as much as I've got for this picture.
Oh, that's right. He didn't send us what that photo was at the bottom there, right? That could be his father getting the stuff there. Who knows? Well, but the thing about it is that is really to authenticate this piece is he needs a picture of it in situ, in the actual circumstances where it was located. All right. If he can get all that together and he can get a plausible story, he has an ability to sell it. Now, if you ask me what I think could he get for it, if somebody said, here's $5,000, I'd kiss the hand and take the money in a heartbeat. But he isn't going to do that because he saw the other one sold for that kind of money. But it is certainly not something you could offer on eBay. And you might or may not find an American auction house to handle it. This one because it was, I think, sold in England. You may have to send it abroad to do it. Guys at the main Antique Digest, I don't know if they take it either, but it is fascinating. Okay, we don't know where that publication is from either, right?
My guess is
England, I think.
England, yeah.
I mean, judging from the look of it and so forth.
Yeah.
But here it is.
The Derby and the crossed umbrellas give it away.
Well, the old comment is the more you know about something, the more you'll get for it. So he supposedly knows his father was there. He knows the regiment the father was in. What he doesn't have is a story about how did his dad get it home. I mean, come on. The army is moving through. They're stripping stuff out, and this guy strips this panel out. Well, what does he do with it? I mean, does he take it back to his tent? He can't roll it up and put it in a duffel bag, that's for sure, right? I mean, How did he get from where it supposedly was originally located to his house? I mean, the story needs to be, as they would say, fleshed out you've heard that term in your writing. Flesh that out a little bit, right?
That's right.
That's right. And so my attitude is that until the story is fleshed out, I will be Mr. Skeptic when it comes to this piece. But we do appreciate him sharing with it, and it certainly, and I give the guy a lot of credit, he certainly found other pieces where that initialing pattern certainly reflected Eva Braun things. And you found on WorthPoint a number of Eva Braun pieces, right?
That's right.
That same distinctive logo on it. So I
mean, the butterfly looking thing.
Right. But we found the watch. We found the lipstick case. Yep, we found that you had a box of. I can't. I guess I'm confused about why did she have her own silverware if she was living with dear old Adolf? But we won't go to there. All right.
Yeah.
But it was there, and there is a World War II hairbrush with her initials in it. And tell you, Harry says to himself, is this stuff too good to be true? Now, the good news is that so far, there's not 3 or 4 of the same things showing up, right? Right. So you can have some belief that maybe this stuff is really what it is, all right? But then again, there's a side of Harry that says, I wonder if some of this was created for selling to GIs. I don't know. But it's fun to speculate about this stuff and whatever. So anyway, there you are. And I guess he might as well, if he's going to sell it, I mean, he can't, by the way, he can't sell it in Germany. You know that, right?
Right.
Because they're really not, they don't allow that over there in Germany. In fact, you can't even use the name in Germany without getting into some serious legal problems, okay? So anyway, well, there we go. Oh, there's a small token locket, EB. It's really interesting that there's such a variety of stuff. So obviously somebody must have hit her bedroom in Berchtesgaden, which is where I think this stuff is all coming from, and just stripped it clean. And to the Victor Dubel on the spoils, and now some of it's winding up on eBay. But, the fact that you don't see any duplicates, I think, is a good sign. All right, anyway, enough of this silliness. If you would like to have us discuss me discuss my opinions, and Greg to sit there quietly nodding his head on this stuff, we have a way for you to do it. Send your comments or your thoughts to community@worthpoint.com. Community@worthpoint.com. If you're going to submit an object for evaluation, please make sure you give us as much detailed information as possible. And we do want to thank the person that sent the Eva Braun stuff in, because we emailed them back and said, look, we need some more information. And I am unfortunately in Washington and couldn't get it printed out down here, but he did send sizes and a bunch of other stuff. So he did send a variety of photographs as well. What I would love to find out is if he got it home that there was some letter or something he got to import it into him with the States. I mean, the other thing is, how do you get it on the boat coming back? Now, the thing is, here's what I would tell you. If his father was an officer, I would say the possibility increases that it's right, because officers had privileges the lowly GI did not.
Right. And
right.
Most of the time, they were only allowed their duffel bag, right? Even the footlockers didn't.
No, the officers could crate stuff.
Well, right. Yes.
The officers could crate stuff. Well, anyway, so much for Eva Braun. So now we know this exists. Now, obviously, what the guy's got to do is he's got to hype it. So this is a story. Rare Eva Braun panel shows up. You send it out. You send the press release out to the trade papers, and you call the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, and you say, auction house estimates $250,000. Not me. Don't use my name here. And this, I am not making that estimate. And you hype it up, and then at that point there will be at least a couple people that'll believe it. I wonder if Heritage would touch it down in Dallas. That would be interesting.
Well, who was it that sold the Hitler phone? I don't remember.
Oh, that was a secondary house in Maryland.
Yeah.
but but got PR about it, and it was on the internet. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Darwin's probably going to say, Harry, that's the one true statement you made tonight. But anyway, we've wasted another. I always like that car talk. You wasted another perfectly good hour, but we only go for about half an hour, although we went a little longer than that tonight. Sorry we didn't get started on time, everybody. Next week we're off. The following week is iffy, but August the 7th, 8th, 9th, we are definitely doing this again.
Yes, we'll be back.
At which point I will have a chance to form many more opinions about things.
That's right, and it'll give Darwin time to
yes, send more than one email.
Craft his response.
Careful response here.
Yes.
Although in fairness to Darwin, he is very honest, and Darwin is great at pointing out that there are two sides to the issue. I have to tell you, I probably will send Darwin. I got a heck of a email today. I can't put it up on the screen, but a blistering article in a major internet site about why kids don't want stuff anymore. And you know that theme is getting written about so much now that it's like a curse in the trade. We can't get away. We can't seem to turn the tide that this antiques and other things are worth collecting and doing this. And so many of us are concerned that this seems to be the theme. And it talked about the fact, that state liquidators and other people go in there and they have to give it away to charity and dump it because they can't find buyers for any of it. So, but the one headline was neat in the article: modernism is in and depression is out. And we'll talk about that next time or another time.
Okay, sounds good.
So, okay, have a great night.
I will, Harry. You too. And for a couple of weeks, we'll say good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.